Hey, welcome back to the pod. It's super nice to be talking to you guys again. Thanks so much for being here if you're tuning back in, or thank you for tuning in for the first time if you're new. My name is Anya, and this is a place where you can come and we can talk about how to create more happiness in your own life. Today, I want to start a conversation about the concept of romanticizing your life. I think it's a phrase that gets bandied around a lot on social media. I'm sure most people listening will have heard it used before, but I think that there could be more conversation on how to actually start doing it, which is what I want to aim to start today. I want to talk about the games that I implement into my own life and some of the tools that I use to do this and how it makes me a much happier person and how I think it makes me feel a lot more fulfilled in my life. I think the best way for us to start this chat is to whip out the Oxford Dictionary definition of the verb to romanticize so that I can refer back to that throughout the episode. So I've got that written down and I'm just going to read it off my notes. The definition of a verb to romanticize is to deal with or describe something in an idealized or unrealistic fashion, to make something seem better or more appealing than it really is. The reason I want to start with this definition is that this to me sounds exactly like something that I think almost all of us probably do already almost every single day. And I'm kind of hoping that by pointing that out, lots of people listening are going to realise that the ability to do this is something that they already have in their toolkit. So if you think that you don't know how to romanticize your own life, let me potentially surprise you. You actually do this to other people's lives all of the time. You might be scrolling through Instagram and see a couple that you vaguely know post some smiley pictures from their Sunday morning hike up a local mountain, and you might think, wow, they look so happy together, their relationship always looks so perfect, I've never seen a more gorgeous sunrise, they are so lucky that they chose a day to go with such perfect weather, and that looks like such a fun and different and exciting way to spend a weekend morning. I wish I could do that one day. And then you scroll to the next post and you see an influencer vlogging her morning routine with loads of shots of her extensive and expensive, aesthetically pleasing skincare and makeup collections, and her cute coffee station and her matching silk PJs and her under eye mask. And you think, wow, she must be so happy to be surrounded by all these luxurious things all the time. And it must be so nice, and she must feel so at peace and serene to have the time to have this really slow, drawn out morning routine. And she's so lucky, and look at how good she's got it, and she must be so happy. You've seen a snapshot of these people's lives and you've taken note of the positives and you've amplified them in your own mind. You see a fantasy version of them and their life and the things that they do and experience. And because you're focusing on all the positives that they've got and exaggerating them, you probably end up with a picture that their life is so much better and more perfect and magical than it actually maybe is. And I know the examples that I've just given are examples of us seeing other people's lives on social media, and I know that social media for so many people can end up just being a highlight reel of their lives, which amplifies this effect even more. But I think we do it with people we meet in real life as well. I think a lot of us can have a tendency when we're talking to friends or family or even just acquaintances, people we know, catching up with them, and they tell us about all the things they've got going on or what they did last night or what their holiday plans are. And I think we remember the positive things that they tell us, and we do elaborate and we fantasize about what their life must be like. The tendency for a lot of us is to say that the grass is greener on the other side and other people have it so much better. I think there are multiple reasons that we do this. You know, you can call it human nature, call it societal conditioning, but I do think as humans we have a massive tendency to see things that others have that we don't as more desirable. And I think we can also often fail to acknowledge or notice the imperfections in other people and their lives. So for example, if we see on social media or in real life somebody going out, having a night out with friends, looking like they're having a great time, and we're thinking about how much fun they must be having and how happy they must be in that moment and how much better their social life looks than ours, I don't think we're often considering that, do you know what, we're not in that person's head. We don't actually know what they're experiencing right now. And it could be that something bad has happened that week and that they're actually really tired and really craving some downtime, but they're not very good at saying no to plans. So they've come out and they're doing a great job of singing, dancing, laughing, looking like they're fitting in. But actually inside, they're just waiting and counting on somebody wanting to go home so that they can leave as well. Or maybe they're just a very anxious person and they have a tendency to overthink, and they've been getting up in their head all night about whether or not they've said the wrong thing, or whether or not they've been on the outside of conversations, or whether any of their friends even like them. Or maybe this has been the night that's made them painfully aware of how unseen they feel by their friends, or how little they have in common with them anymore. Or maybe nothing that bad has happened at all, and maybe they're having a nice night and they've had a good laugh and they've had a few nice drinks, but maybe it's not the social outing perfection that you've built this event up to be in your head just from seeing a tiny bit of it. You don't know what kind of night they're having, just like you never know what's going on inside of other people's heads. But this is what romanticizing is. You're focusing on all the positives in people's lives and idealizing them in your mind, imagining every night out to be 10 times more perfect and magical than it was, imagining a perfectly curated aesthetic TikTok vlog to equal contentness, and a series of photos of a couple from a single moment to equal a perfect happy relationship. So the point to all this is that we know how to romanticize a life because we do it to other people's all the time in our heads. We just need to learn how to take bits of what we're doing to them and apply it to our own lives in a productive way. I think we're very, very good at appreciating what is good in other people's lives, but when we can turn that inwards and start doing it for ourselves, I think that is when the magic is going to start happening for us. I want you to start by imagining how somebody who admired or wanted your life would see it. So put yourself in the shoes of the person who is scrolling through your social media, or the friend who's feeling FOMO or jealousy, or wistfully longing that they had your week instead of theirs when you're telling them about it over a catch up at the pub or over a coffee. What are all the amazing and magical things that you have or do on a regular basis that they would be using to romanticize your life in their head? Have a think about it, and then I want you to start directing more of your focus towards those things from this point going forward. I can do it for my own life right now, and I don't need to imagine necessarily what it would look like from somebody else's perspective, because I remember what parts of my life looked like as an outsider looking in before I got in the situation that I'm in now. So take, for example, my job. Before I got a job as a barista, I thought that it looked so fun and cool, and like it must be such a calm and peaceful environment to work in. And I have this completely unrealistic perception of it because I didn't know the reality of it, and all I had was this idealized fantasy version of it in my own mind. You know, I used to imagine working with a team of really warm and friendly people and learning how to make coffees and do different forms of latte art every day, and it being so much fun all the time, and always appreciating the gorgeous interior of the cafe and the aesthetic of it all, and every time I clocked in for a shift feeling like I was clocking in for a computer game, and each day literally feeling like a run your own cafe game, and the cafe being the center of this fictional universe where every customer who comes in is a potential friend and everyone's always smiling. This is how I saw the job before I got it. And I'm blaming the Papa Louie games for a big part of that. Somebody else listening has got to know what I'm talking about. Any early 2000s or late 90s babies, I spent half of my childhood glued to the laptop screen playing those. But anyway, the point of all of that is that that is how I would have described the barista experience, because the only version of it that I knew was the idealized, romanticized version of it that I had in my head. The reason I imagined it that way is because I didn't know the reality. And I think the tendency when we don't know the reality of somebody else's circumstances or situation can be to romanticize it and exaggerate and idealize all the positive aspects of it. I've been in my job for 8 months now, and obviously I now know that it isn't sugar and spice and all things nice all of the time. As anyone who listened to my last episode will know, I don't love every single minute of every shift, and I know that there are plenty of downsides to a job as well as all the positives. As hard as I try not to let it happen, and as much as I do believe that the day is what you make it, there are times where I do get bored out of my fucking mind. But when the love for it does start to slip, reminding myself of the things that I used to think were great about the job as an outsider looking in does help me see and experience it in that romanticized way again. Every day I try to notice at least once how cute the interior of the cafe is, and when I'm doing things like refilling the hoppers with coffee beans on my coffee machine, I will literally just take a couple of seconds to take it in because it smells so nice. And I try to build those positive relationships with customers and with the team that I always thought must be so nice to have when I imagine what it must be like to do the job before. As annoying or basic or cheesy as this is going to sound potentially to some people, I do think the vast majority of romanticizing your life does come back down to positivity and choosing to actively practice identifying the good things that you've got in your life and the good things that you've got going for you. And it means doing things like remarking, actually, aren't I so lucky to get paid to work in a silly little coffee shop and make pretty lattes all day? And isn't it cool that I then get to take that money and spend it on a home of my own? And I get to fill that home with silly things that bring me joy, like an orange mushroom lamp that I've got behind me. And isn't it magical that on my days off, I can literally hop on a train and in half an hour be sat on the seafront in front of the waves, listening to the sound of them, listening to the birds call and feeling the sun and its warmth on my skin. And actually, isn't life just so good? I'm also not for a minute suggesting that people work on actively deceiving themselves out of clearly seeing the negative aspects of their life, and I certainly don't do that. What I'm saying is that actually our brains are already so good at seeing things in a negative light that actually if we practice idealizing our own lives and exaggerating the positives as much as possible, we'll probably end up closer to a balanced view of things. I think we as humans are already so primed to focus on the negative that I don't think there is any need to worry about developing a completely unrealistic perception of your own life and forgetting about all the dangers and threats to you through romanticization. That's not what this is going to do. And anyway, we're not trying to pretend that the negative things don't exist. We're just trying to give the positive things equal weight in our perception of our own lives. On top of that, if we do actually exaggerate how good our lives actually are a little in our own heads, they are more than likely to become better. So in that sense, romanticizing your life isn't actually unrealistic at all. It's a way of literally changing your own reality to make it closer to a way you want it to look. In so many ways, we are the creators of our own realities, and that's a whole topic in itself, so I won't go into it in too much detail because it is a conversation for another day, but I will do a quick recap of bits that I've spoken about in previous episodes that are relevant to this. Firstly, there's the existence of the RAS, which stands for reticular activating system, which is this teeny tiny part of your brainstem, which is responsible for filtering out about 99.999% of the information that your brain is receiving on a daily basis and which bits get into that 0.001% that gets through to your conscious mind. And it makes decisions on what gets through by looking at what you're already paying lots of attention to, what you're focusing on, what you think about a lot, and what you already believe. So if you work on looking for evidence that your life is wonderful and fun and magical, or that it can be, your RAS will quickly start to join in with you and start pointing out things that are magical and wonderful and positive about your life, or pointing out ways in which you could make it more magical and romantic. And eventually you won't even have to try, and your RAS will get in the habit of doing it for you. Basically, your brain will start to filter your reality to prove this belief that your life is magical, right? Which shows that the more you focus on the wonderful and romantic stuff, the more of it will get through your brain's filter, and so the more of it you'll experience. And if you can change your experience of your day-to-day life, you can change your reality. I've also spoken about the confirmation bias before, I think, which is basically the same thing. It just refers to the fact that your brain is constantly seeking out information which confirms its pre-existing beliefs. So again, if we believe that everything is magical and romantic, we will see and experience more evidence of that. So just remember that your brain remembers everything that you tell it and will use that information to start changing the way that you see and experience the world. So actually, if you start to romanticize and idealize and exaggerate how incredible your life is in your own head, it will in turn become more romantic and incredible and amazing. I actually saw someone do a good TikTok on romanticizing your life the other day. Her name was Molly. I'll link it in the episode description. But she said numerous times that you need to stop romanticizing other people's lives, and that is a slap in the face to the gift of life that you were given. And I agree with the general point that she was making with the video, which was that the grass is greener where you water it, and that your life is within your control and it's your responsibility to romanticize it and make it better. And that basically we should all be more grateful for the beauty that's in our own lives, because that's what being here is all about. But I do disagree with the idea that romanticizing other people's lives is inherently a bad thing, because I think it can be really helpful in showing us what we want more of in our own lives, and also in showing us that it is within our capabilities to appreciate positive things. But it is only useful if you then use that knowledge to romanticize your own. Romanticizing other people's lives in a their life's great and mine sucks and why can't my life be like that way is unhelpful, because then you're missing the point. The point is that if their life can be like that, yours can be too. And you can take inspiration from them and use that inspiration to water your own grass. But there needs to be inspiration plus action for it to help you actually improve your own life. There always needs to be action if you want to see some sort of change. But as long as you're experiencing that awe and idealization of other people's lives, and then taking that and reflecting on what it is about their lives that you think is so great, and using that either to be more appreciative of your own or to add something new to your own, I think idealizing other people's lives can be a positive thing. So now we're on to the actual how to do the thing section of the episode. How to do the romanticization. I've got a game for you, I've got more of a mindfulness technique, and I've got somewhere on the internet that I go to get consistent inspiration for things to spice up my own life. I think there are two ways of romanticizing your life. You can start romanticizing what you already have and becoming more excited and grateful for the things that you have and do and experience every day, and learning to see them through this new perspective. Or you can start making your life your actual fantasy life. Look at what you romanticize in the lives of people that you know or people that you see on social media or on TV. So when a woman in a really cool outfit walks past you on the street and you turn to get another look at it as she's walking away because you think it looks so cool and it's the most perfectly curated ensemble you've ever seen and she must be such a cool person, that's you romanticizing. You can use that and take inspiration from it and start working on your own wardrobe or adding some new pieces or changing your style and dressing in a way that feels more fun and makes you more excited to leave the house in the morning. Or if you're not as interested in fashion and you're more interested in something like home decor, then get on Pinterest and start looking at pictures that make you excited, things that you think, I would love it if my home looked like that, and that would make me so happy to look at every day. Or if you're less interested in the aesthetic side of things and more about upgrading the experiences that you're having in your life, then be the one to bite the bullet and organise a themed girls' night or a group hike or a weekend trip down to the beach with takeaway pizzas. You know, hire a pedalo for an hour this summer at your local lake, or research some wild swimming spots to go to and take a picnic with an actual picnic basket and blanket and maybe some childhood favourite snacks. Actually start doing some of the things that you always think look or sound fun, or that you see on social media and think, oh my God, that looks like such an amazing time. I'd love to be invited to something like that. Be the one to organise it. Take inspiration from other people or whatever form of media you consume and do something different and fun. There's one specific place that I go to online all the time to get inspiration on how to romanticize my life. And I've mentioned it before, and it's Hannah Connolly's socials. I will link them in the episode description as always. She goes by Hannah Raisin, I think, on Instagram, and she does a weekly and a monthly post on things to do to spice up your week or month. And they consist of different new and fun things that you can do outside of your daily routine to make your life more romantic and add more experiences to your calendar. I'm filming this on Monday currently. Yesterday was Sunday, and she always posts her weekly ones on Sundays. And a couple of my favourite suggestions from yesterday's post were to eat croissants for breakfast one day this week outside, and to step outside of your normal routine and find a new coffee shop or a new route to work or a new bookstore. Also, the surprise checklist element of it that comes from having a new list of suggestions to choose from each week makes it feel like another game. It's like another challenge, another to-do list. And I genuinely think that gamifying as much of my life as I possibly can is maybe one of the biggest contributors to my overall happiness and sense of joy. I do think it is one of the silliest, happiest, most romantic things you can do. So if you want to uplevel your life and add more variety, more interest, more excitement, and feel like you're living in a movie or a sitcom or a TV show, I would highly recommend checking out those posts. Now let's talk about romanticizing what you already have and do. If you don't know where to start with this, I have a great game for you that I call Real Life Sims. Don't worry if you're not a Sims player or if you've never played with Sims 3, which is what I based this on, although I can highly recommend that as a fun game to play, along with the Papa Louie games. I'm going to explain it as if you've never played the game before, although hopefully everybody knows the basic premise, which is that you design a sim, a simulated person, and you choose their outfits and their personalities, and you get them a house, and you get them a job, and you send them to bed, you send them to work, and then you choose what they do with their time in all the bits in between. When playing the game, you have a little dashboard at the bottom of your screen that displays your sim's mood meter and moodlets. And the mood meter is this vertical bar which displays how happy your sim is. So if your sim is in a great mood, it will be full up and green, and if they're not feeling so great or they're sad or uncomfortable, it will be halfway full and orangey. And if they're really miserable or they're really mad, it will be barely full at all, and it will be this angry red. And the mood meter score is decided by your moodlets. I can't remember what the actual scores are in the game, but say a full mood meter is a score of 100, and if you're looking at a little angry red bar, then it might be a score of -40. There are so many different moodlets that your sim can experience, and they can be positive or negative, and they're each worth a certain number of points. So it's the combination of the points of each of the moodlets that your sim is currently experiencing that adds up to equal your mood meter score. So to give an example, they can get the squeaky clean moodlet when they've just had a bath or shower, and it's a little picture of a soap bar, and that's worth 10 points. You can get a really high mood meter score either by getting one or two really high scoring moodlets, like when they've just had a baby, they get a moodlet that gives them 80 points and lasts 24 hours, or you can get them lots of lower scoring moodlets that add up together to equal a higher score, which is often a more practical way of doing it because you can't have them popping out babies and getting married every other day. There are really easy, low effort ways of getting your sims lots of extra positive moodlets. So if you buy a stereo and have it in the room that they're in and just have music playing in the background, that's an extra 10 points. If you decorate the room nicely, that's an extra 10 points. You get another positive moodlet if you give them a nice drink, or if they're having a bath and you put a rubber duck in it. You get the picture. There are lots of little things that you can do to give them little mood boosts that add up to them being in a great mood. So a way in which I play this in real life is in any given moment, I say to myself, what could I be doing to give myself an extra couple of positive moodlets right now? And there are so many ways in which I do it. Like I said, you can do it literally anywhere. Like if I'm doing some podcast work, for example, doing some script writing or editing, I'll often either take myself to a cafe to do it and get a really sweet, tasty coffee, or if I'm doing it at home, I'll light a candle and make myself a nice matcha in a fun glass, like a mason jar, or I have like these washed out old strawberry jam jars, the fancy ones with like the red and white checkered lids. I think that iced matcha looks so cute in those. So that's an immediate 2 extra positive moodlets. I'm having a tasty drink while I'm working and I'm drinking it out of a fun glass. Then lighting a candle is another 2 positive moodlets because the room's smelling nice and I'm creating a comfy, cozy atmosphere with it. And then I tuck myself under a blanket, which could be another one. I'm warm, something snuggly and soft and nice feeling is touching my skin. So that's 5 extra little positive moodlets from taking a couple of minutes to light a candle and make myself a nice drink. And then if I'm going to work, which, let's be real, I don't always want to be doing, I make an effort to walk a route which goes past some lavender bushes, and I take a couple of seconds to stop and smell them. That's another moodlet. And then once I'm on shift, I make an effort to chat to customers and ask them how they're doing, ask them what their plans are when they're waiting for their drink. And that could be another little positive moodlet because there's been a nice moment of human connection there. Last week, I brought myself a new perfume to go on my bedstand and to wear specifically at nighttime. So that's 3 more positive moodlets because I have something nice and aesthetically pleasing to look at in my bedroom. I have a nice smell now attached to my bedtime routine, and it's added a little bit of accessible luxury to my daily routine. It's a game of constantly looking for things that I could be doing to improve my mood throughout my day so that every day can feel like a full bar day, a full mood meter day, without the need for a special occasion or a holiday or even a day off work. And I honestly think it's one of the things that makes me the happiest. The other great thing about this game is that it puts you in this permanent state of excitement because you're constantly thinking of things to look forward to and be excited about and add those extra moodlets to your day, like your favourite morning drink or like having a nighttime perfume on your nightstand. And the other tool that I use to romanticize what I already have is called savouring, which again you can do anywhere, anytime, in any scenario. It's essentially what I've been talking about for half the episode. Essentially, you bring your attention to something positive in your surroundings or something positive that you're currently experiencing and you savour it. You put your attention on it and you bring yourself into the present and you give it some appreciation. I do this quite literally every single day, and I think one of the best things about it is that it doesn't require you to have a luxurious or expensive lifestyle or to own lots of nice things. You can do this with what you do have or with things that are free. Like, I do it every time I go outside and it's sunny. I always try and feel the warmth on my skin and appreciate it and just think to myself, oh, that's so nice to feel the sun on my skin. And isn't it amazing that that causes a serotonin release in my body and that that's helping me feel happier? And every time I come in this room, pretty much after waking up in the morning, and I see this little bookshelf behind me, which is pretty much the only aesthetically pleasing part of mine and my boyfriend's flat, I look at it and I think, oh, I love those plants. I love that we have so much greenery in our living space. And isn't it so nice and amazing that I've collected all these books that I've learned so much from? And I love this little orange mushroom lamp behind me. I really do. It is one of my favourite things that I own. I do think it is really, really important every once in a while to just take a moment to appreciate the things that make you happy and just give them some attention. Like if you have a lamp or a plant or something in your house that you love to look at or you love to use, or you have a favourite glass or you have a favourite candle that you love lighting, just savour it when you're using it, when you're looking at it, when you're smelling it. Just think to yourself, this is nice. This is why I like this so much. Life is good. This is a good thing that I've got here. And you can do it with experiences as well. Like when I was setting up this morning to film this episode, I was thinking to myself, how nice is it that I have a day off to film a podcast episode in? And how cool is it that I'm literally a podcaster? Like, that's a cool, fun, romantic hobby to have. And how amazing is it that we have the internet and that once I'm done, I can literally upload this for anybody to listen to. And isn't it sick that I could potentially help somebody else be happier? Like, that is cool. That's great. That is such a happy little piece of knowledge to have. And life is fun and life is magic and life is romantic. And savouring does that to you. It makes you see things in this new perspective and it helps you become more appreciative of what you have. It is bringing yourself into the present and squeezing as much as you can out of the good and positive things that you haven't experienced. If positive thinking isn't something that comes naturally to you, I do think starting with your 5 senses is probably the best idea, because wherever we are, whatever time it is, we will always be able to see or smell or hear or feel something on our skin. So just take a minute and look around you and see if you can identify something in your surroundings that you like to look at and what it is that you like about it, or think about something that you can hear that's making you feel some sort of positive emotion, or think about if you can currently feel any nice physical sensations on your skin. Like, are you wearing any soft or warm clothes? And whatever it is, the physical sensation, the sight, the sound, just keep your attention on the pleasantness of it for a few moments. If you can start doing that just once every single day, I believe that you are in fact romanticizing your life. And that's it for today. I think I might actually have succeeded in making this a shorter episode. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope that somebody got something from this. As always, any feedback is greatly appreciated. If people prefer the shorter episodes or if they prefer longer ones and want to share their opinion, please do shoot me a message, leave me a comment. And while you're at it, if you could find it within your heart to please follow me on Spotify or subscribe to YouTube, wherever you're watching this, or give me a like or any kind of engagement, that would really help me out because it would push this out to more people, and then the people who can benefit from it will be able to find it, and that would make me very, 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 very happy. I love whoever's listening so much, and I hope that this episode has inspired you to romanticize your own life a bit more, have more fun, and see the magic and see that life can be really good when you just practice seeing the good a little bit more. That's all the yap from me today. I will speak to you again in 2 weeks' time, and I hope that you have a lovely, magical, fun, romantic fortnight. Until then, bye for now.